Right then guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. Unfortunately, today we are talking about VAR. VAR has made the headlines once again, and surprise, surprise, it's for all the wrong reasons. VAR and the officiating in the Premier League has been so poor recently that I genuinely think it has given our league, my league, English League, Premier League, a bad name. It is honestly ruining the game right now. And the reason I say Premier League as well, by the way, is because it's actually being used really well all across the rest of Europe. You think about the World Cup 4 years ago was a success. It was a huge success. That was why it was rolled out across all of the leagues. How 4 years later things have got worse is totally beyond me. With the most recent failure of VAR being in yesterday's game between Chelsea and Newcastle, where Jacob Murphy was, well, wrestled to the ground basically with his shirt pulled all over the place in the box by Chelsea's Chalobah. The referee, David Coote, gave no penalty, and the VAR assistant saw nothing clear and obvious to make a change, which again is mad. It's been labelled David Coote and VAR are diabolical, and as they failed to spot a blatant penalty in the game. And I have got the words of Eddie Howe that we are going to go through it today in this video following that, but I also want to open this way up to just VAR in general and what has happened, what is going wrong, how it can be fixed. I mean, we saw literally just a couple of weeks ago the handball Everton game, which again, how that has not been given, I don't know. My personal favourite actually is, I think, from last season, where the Aston Villa goalie is actually sat in his own goal with the ball, and that wasn't given. I think the goal-like technology failed, but there's still a man in a box literally looking at the goal line with the goalie sat in his own box holding the ball, and nothing was given. It's mad, and as I say, it's in the Premier League. A few years ago, English referees were regarded as the best in the world, or one of the best in the world. We must be so far down the list now. Honestly, the officiating in the Premier League is as bad as I've ever seen it. There was another incident in yesterday's game where Kai Havertz challenged for the ball with Dan Burn, and for me, definitely caught him with an elbow worthy of a red card. And Eddie Howe was asked about that, and he said, yeah, possibly, as to whether it should have been a red card or not. But went on to say, the one I cannot possibly understand is the penalty shout, where Jacob Murphy gets his shirt pulled off him with VAR. How's that not being given? I'm at a loss. Can't look past the penalty and how that decision was reached. Referee doesn't give it on the pitch, which you can understand, again, due to the potentially poor view from the referee. But with VAR, they should see it and make the ref review it, because it does seem like he got it wrong. Eddie Howe was clearly not a happy man at the end of the game, and it's obvious to see why, just as Frank Lampard was unhappy with his decision a couple of weeks ago. For two teams, that are fighting relegation, and that point or points could be the difference at the end of the season. I genuinely think that VAR is being used so poorly, it's making a joke of the Premier League football right now. The referees at the end of the game, there's no way David Coote is going to go home and watch that back later on yesterday night and not feel embarrassed by that decision that he's made. He must feel hugely let down by whoever the bloke was doing VAR, or the referees association, or whatever rules they're putting in place for them to not tell him to check that. He must feel embarrassed by that. It's the whole point of VAR. And again, I've been watching loads of this morning. I think it was Glenn Hoddle said in an interview last night about the fact that, there was bodies in the way. It wasn't easy for him to see. But that's the point of VAR. That is the point of VAR. That they have that to help. This is to help the referees, believe it or not. It's actually there to try and help them with decisions, not make them look stupid. Because he must have been saying that, Mike, do I need to have a look? Because you can see the reaction of the players, you can see what's going on. Why aren't they helping him? And if I was him on the pitch and I'm having that kind of reaction, or even in the ear or we're not sure either, why doesn't he take it upon himself to go and look at the monitor? You know what I mean? First of all, how he's not getting that and how he's not in the position to see that and do that in plain sight is already a mistake. He is a top flight paid referee to be there and see those decisions. So already the officiating, the fact that he hasn't given it himself, is already a joke. If he's not in a position to see that, that's already his fault. But you can't always do it 100% of the time. There's going to be that bracket when you miss something or a player moves across you at the last second and you can't see it. And I'm here to forgive that. How he doesn't take the responsibility to say, I want to see it, I want to go and check it. You can blame the VAR man as much as you want as well, but the officials on the pitch need to also take responsibility to just go and look themselves. And none of that happened. In yesterday's challenge, it didn't happen with the Man City one either. It didn't happen when the Aston Villa goalie was sat in his own goal with the ball. It's mad. It has to be looked at. It has to be changed. And what we could also get into, which I'm not going to because it is another can of worms, is the offsides as well, because that's just gone mad as well. But that is a lot tougher to work out, to be honest, and it's way above my pay grade. What I'm here to talk about today, again, is what they like to call clear and obvious, even though what we are seeing is what I believe and the rest of the world believes to be clear and obvious is not clear and obvious in the eyes of the VAR assistants, which is the major problem. Because again, you know, VAR is introduced. I don't like VAR the way it is, but I do like the idea of VAR and being able to get decisions right. The problem is, we have the VAR, we have the technology, we aren't getting the decisions right. And that's not the fault of the footage or the system or the camera angles. That's the fault of the people who are being left in charge of the decisions. So what do we do about the incident yesterday? What are we doing about incidents that we've had in the past? Well, Frank Lampard actually received an apology from the officials in the Premier League to say that they did get that wrong. I'm sure he's going to take that thank you all the way till the end of the season when they get relegated by 1 point. I don't know if Newcastle themselves will receive an apology as well, but at the end of the day, what difference does it make? Eddie Howe was asked, are you going to basically speak to the referee after this? Are you going to ask why? He said that it's pointless and a waste of energy. There you go. There's no accountability for the refs. They make a decision, they get it wrong, they go home and go to bed. And for his professional career, I do believe that he will go home to bed and feel like he's made a mistake and will want to better that. But at the same time, the referees are so protected. There is no accountability for him to come out and say, you know what it is, the reason it didn't work was because I couldn't see it because there was a player in front, and then the VAR guy, he told me not to look at it, he told me it wasn't a pen. And then at least then we know what the issue was. The issue was that the VAR did not support the on-field ref. And then we can look at that person and say, well, why didn't you think it was a pen? And then we question him, and if he says, oh, well, I just didn't think it was one, then he shouldn't be in a job, alright? So, because there is no accountability, we are not getting down to why these mistakes are happening, which means we aren't going to ever, we're not going to find a solution if we're not finding the problem first. One thing people are asking for is for refs to actually to be mic'd up like they are, but to have live feed communication to the stadium, to the supporters at home. And as much as I think, similar like we see in the rugby, and as much as I think that would be it would give total accountability. We would be able to know exactly what they're saying. We would know what is going on. That's not happening. That's so far away. They're not even allowed to come out and talk in post-match interviews, where they could, in theory, make up and say whatever they want. They're not going to allow them to do it live. So again, what can we do next? I said it earlier in the video, that the technology side of it's here to stay. You know, I know people have said that let's just scrap it. Let's just get rid of VAR. It's not going to happen. VAR is here to stay. I like the idea of getting decisions right. You know, that the whole point of it is to get these kind of things right. And we're not doing that. So what you need to change is the people who are in charge of this technology. The technology itself is there to be used as we think is correct. We aren't using it correctly. Again, another thing that people have come out and said in recent is to start having a review process whereby managers could actually have 2 reviews a game. And if they believe, or the players believe, or the captain on field agrees, similar to tennis and cricket with Hawkeye, where they can re-review certain situations and they only get so many a game. The discussion is, could that be something we bring into football? And again, this is a fully open conversation, so please let me know your thoughts down below. I get it, and having that brings more power back to the managers and the players to be able to review these kind of decisions. Because again, in what world does Lascelles or Eddie Howe, or last week Frank Lampard, or again, you know, the multitude of incidents we've had, asks for a review? I cannot believe, and if it's that David Coote would look at that on the monitor and go, no pen. So again, that's the reason for it, is to get these refs to actually go and do their job and actually look at these incidents. I get it and I understand it. For me, it shouldn't have to be a review process. There should be someone clever enough upstairs to tell them to have a look. You know, we shouldn't need to have reviews to get the refs to do their job. You know, we should have people up in this VAR room, and if there's 4 people all looking at it, again, ex-manager, ex-player, coach of 50 years, ex-referee, and one of those 4 says, I think you should take a look, then he should go and look. And if all 4 of them agree that it isn't one, then they don't. And again, I think the different backgrounds and all of that kind of thing helps, because like even Chelsea fans are quite openly admitting on Twitter that, again, they scored the goal, they won the game, they got the 3 points, and if it was me, I would celebrate it as well, because a win is a win. But at the end of the day, even Chelsea fans are saying, yeah, that was a pen, you know? So, like, if Joe Bloggs down the road can see it is, who the hell's this man who can't? And that is where I'm going to wrap up the video there, guys. So let me know your thoughts down below. As I've said, going forward, first thing we need is visibility of what's actually going on, who's making the decisions, what's the process to make these decisions. And then once we have that, we can look to try and improve it. As I say, I don't know if it's 1 man, 2 men, and his dog making the decisions. We need to have, I think, more people in there. There needs to be some sort of a vote, instant vote, watch it once, watch it twice, right. Are we all in agreement that that wasn't a pen? Okay. But again though, the referee on the pitch should be seeing something fishy there. The fact is, he gave a corner in that decision yesterday. He didn't touch the ball. So even then, the VAR should be like, well, he didn't touch the ball, so it's a goal kick. How is that not clear and obvious? He didn't touch the ball either. So yeah, I'm going back into it again now. But let me know your thoughts down below. Changes have to be made. We have to start getting these right. As I say, it's ruining the game. It's ruining the game. All right, guys. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll catch you later.